Mr. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs to India, thank you so much for taking the time to
really good to be here.
Really appreciate it. Let me start out by just the fact that you're in here in Denmark. I want to ask you, because I'm curious to it, why is Denmark a relevant country for you as India's Minister of External Affairs to visit? What role do you see Denmark play in the world?
Well, I think it has different dimensions of relevance, some a little more immediate, some more permanent. Our own relations are very good. It's a country with which, we have a very trusting, very strong, very open relationship. I think on many big issues, we think similarly. It's a very important partner for us when it comes to sustainability and for green development. In fact, we have something called a Green Strategic Partnership with Denmark. It's also a very influential voice in the European Union. It'll hold the next presidency of the European Union. And it's right now in the Security Council as a member. So it has a global influence and a global, I would say, role as well.
So there is a reason, not just for the fact that there's 6 million people, which is not very many.
No, I like the 6 million people. Always good to be here. And I must tell you, I have great counterparts. I like, working with Foreign Minister Rasmussen. And I always enjoy meeting Prime Minister Frederiksen as well.
Good. Well, now you are here, so you better make the best of it, I suppose. But in Europe, we're going to talk about the New World Order and the Indian perspective on what's on our minds as well. In Europe, we see the old world order falling apart. No doubt about it. And the world is becoming an uncertain, to many people in Denmark and I think in Europe, an uncertain and perhaps even frightening place. How does the current changes that are going on, how do they look from your perspective?
Look, I think falling apart is a very strong word. Certainly this is a period of very big changes. I totally get that. How we react, and change can be very unsettling, okay? To an extent, how Europe is reacting and how India is reacting is different. And there are a number of reasons for it. Many of the changes pertain to an alliance structure, alliance culture, which has given a lot of comfort to Europe. We don't have that alliance. We don't therefore have that the mindset which came with that. So when we look at this part of the changes or this part of the order, this impacts Europe much more than it impacts
NATO
India.
falling apart, or whatever you might describe that.
NATO changing. Again, I think falling apart is a very over-dramatic word. The second is, in a way, again, we have historically tended to fend for ourselves. That's been our preferred political positioning, strategic positioning. So we've always taken the world as it is, tried to navigate it to the best advantage, assess the risks often for ourselves. So maybe we face this era of uncertainty and volatility with a greater degree of equanimity because, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everything is smooth and everybody can handle everything. But I think we come at it somewhat differently. I can understand, today the sentiments that I hear in Europe because, what is now happening transatlantic or even within Europe is one aspect of it. We know that the Ukraine war, which started 3 years ago, was another aspect of it. We know there are economic challenges that Europe is also going to be looking at. How do you deal with the issues of market access, of technology, etc., trusted technology? How do you deal with the digital age? So there are definitely uncertainties. But here's my takeaway, and that's what's brought me to Denmark as well. The more uncertain the world is, the more unstable the world is, we need countries and we need regions and we need groupings who who will add to stability, who will work with each other, who give each other more strength and confidence to do that. And that's why I'm here.
So some alliance, but we were talking about the alliances that we already have are sort of, you say they're not falling apart, but they are somehow changing or crumbling a bit or whatever that might be. I just want to reach out, touch upon what you mentioned here, because you talked about the war in Ukraine. And I think to people in Denmark, that is one of the most threatening examples of this new world order. The fact that Russia has invaded another country. You've called for peace negotiations, but differently from Europe, you have not cut ties to Russia. You've bought oil from Russia.
Well, Europe continues to buy energy as well. I mean, just so that we are
but why do you approach this matter differently? I understand Ukraine is not in your immediate geography, but still, it's a huge country invading a small country. Does that give you any sort of concern that this is not what's supposed to be going on?
Well, it certainly is a source of concern, not just for India, but for the entire world, that you have a conflict. You have a conflict now into 3 years and going, which has impacted the entire world in different ways. It has had second order, third order consequences. It has messed up the global energy situation, the food, the entire food security of many countries have become a problem. Fertilizer has become a problem. So I think there's no question that it is something which matters to the world. You raised the issue of, so one country does something to another country. Look, here, obviously, at one level, everybody takes note of it, but everybody also looks at it from their particular historical experience. Now, we've had, I mean, if you were to look at after the Second World War, we are one of the countries which actually have had, a violation of our sovereignty. We still have a violation of our sovereignty by our neighbors.
Pakistan and Kashmir region.
And China.
And China.
The fact is, Europe was very detached about it. In fact, at times, Europe was very cynical about it. Now, I'm not saying that, this leads to that. I'm just saying there's the reality of the world. The reality of the world is that even when you are concerned, those who are closer to the problem, those whose interests are deeper, will have a much more passionate, emotional position. Those who are, I would get passionate about something close up to me, which Europe may wonder, why are the Indians so agitated, or not Indians, but somebody else as well. So I think that's natural. But so in diplomacy, there cannot be an expectation that other nations will have identical responses. Diplomacy is about finding common ground. That, look, let's agree on something basic and practical. And right now, from the very start, we've been saying something which we feel we are now vindicated 3 years onwards. We always said you are not going to get a solution to the Ukraine conflict from the battleground, from the battlefield. We also said you're going to have to talk. There's got to be dialogue, there's got to be diplomacy, and there's got to be direct contact. Now, there was a time, you remember there were these conferences which were going on about gathering countries on this.
In the whole conflict.
Now, we attended those conferences, but we always said, look, what's the point of gathering everybody else and not having Russia in the room?